A bunch of different organizational structures. Why is this the one you prefer right now?
You know, I think this, and let's face it, we're learning the hard way, right? I think this, everybody talks a lot about structure, and I think structure is important, but I think far more important are these two things: getting the right people and making sure they're aligned, okay? And I think if you looked at all 30 of the other 31 teams, there's all kinds of different structures, right? But if you look at the successful organizations that are consistently in the playoffs year after year, there is alignment within the organization, and they have the right people in the right place, coach and GM. And so that's what we're focusing on tremendously. And that alignment is something that's really, really important. It sounds easy, but it's not.
What do you want in each position?
Let's start with the coach, okay? JW and I probably talked to 25 or 30 of our players on Monday and Tuesday morning, and what I would call our core group of players. And players want leadership. They really do want strong leadership. So we're looking for a strong leader, one, someone who's smart, two, has really good football acumen, three, and then is a good will work within the organization. Okay, it's not my way or the highway. We'll work within the organization for the best result. And I also think we want somebody who's a continuous learner, somebody who's trying to get better all the time. I'd say those are the 4 or 5 characteristics. On the GM, it's really not a whole lot different. The leadership piece is a little different than the head coach, but I'd say the other attributes are the same.
Is that the goal, Jimmy, right now, is to keep this roster intact? Typically, when you bring in a new coach, you bring in a new GM, they want to blow up the roster and bring in their own players. So can you?
Yeah, I think that if you look over the last couple of years, I think the first thing you have to do is really understand the players in place, and it's really important to know your own team. And everybody looks at who we add, and I think it's really important also to look at who we subtract. And don't get me wrong, there could be some changes in the roster, but we have a pretty solid group of core players who are all extremely young. I was just, the other day, we just happened to have back-to-back come in and talk to JW and I. Greedy, who's 21, Max, who's 21, Redwine, who's 21, and Denzel, who's 22, okay? So we have Baker's 24, our old guys, Jarvis and Odell, are 27. So it is a very young group. Miles is 23, 24. So that core group of players is very young. Can't imagine anybody wanting to change that group.
Last, when you had head coach and GM both reporting to ownership, it did seem to set up opportunities for a power struggle. It seemed like you got away from that with John Dorsey. Why are you going back to this setup, and why won't that happen again?
Yeah, it goes back to that alignment, right? And make sure the people are properly aligned and everybody's heading toward the same goal and vision. And we talked to the players as a group on, I guess it was Monday, and we talked to all football operations on Tuesday afternoon. So that's equipment, that's training, that's all the support, personnel, et cetera. And the message was, listen, if it doesn't have to do with one of these 3 things, you're not doing the right thing. The first is winning, the second is improving as an individual, and the third is helping the team. And we're going to make sure that whoever we hire as a head coach and whoever we hire as a GM is all focused on that, about the Browns winning games, the Browns making the playoffs, et cetera. And that may sound like a soft answer, but we are, having learned from our past mistakes, we're more determined than ever to get that right this time. And that'll be that's why we decided to go head coach first, then GM, so that the head coach could be involved in that process. So listen, there's no guarantees, you know that, but hopefully we'll have learned from our past mistakes and do a much better job.